What's up, y'all? Petrol heads. Today I'm going to explain every single thing about braking, how you want to do it, and what is the most efficient way to corner in the context of just braking. I'm not talking about acceleration. I'm just going to be delving into braking in this episode of the greatest channel in the world, Pistonfury. First of all, why do you want to brake? Because you're too fast to take a corner. There's too much inertial force that's going to be pressing on your car, and your tires do not have the grip to take it. So you're going to have to brake to get to a lower speed so you can complete the corner and not have a meeting with barrier. What happens when you press the brake, whether it's with your right foot or your left foot? Your brakes engage, slowing down your wheels, and the stopping force creates an inertial force. You see, in slowing down, there's a fight of braking force and inertial force, because your car has weight. Weight does not come without inertia. So your brakes trying to slow you down is fighting against the weight that wants to still move forward, and hence your weight is transferred all to the front, onto the front axle, onto those front wheels. And you know what that does? That buries your tires into the ground, into that tarmac, enhancing your contact patch, making it bigger, giving you more grip. But you see, when you brake extremely hard, nailing that brake into the floor, your tires, though your fronts are getting more grippy with an enhanced contact patch, due to the contact between the tires and the road, due to the extreme braking force, your tires are deforming, getting enhanced more for braking, all because of the braking force and the contact. And because the weight is transferred forward, and that means your front tires have a bigger contact patch because of all that weight pressing on them, so they will have more grip, so you can press the brakes even harder. Wow. When weight is transferred forward, listen to it, it's self-explanatory. Transfer, not give more. When weight is being transferred to the front, it's being transferred off the back. So that's why every single car has a braking bias, always front bias, because when you brake, all the weight is being transferred forward, and you don't want to lock up your rear brakes, because then you will have a meeting with barrier. I'm sick right now doing a YouTube video, so subscribe. But you see, when your tires are going through the deformation due to the great braking force and the contact between the road and the tires, they are deforming in a certain construction just made for braking. So the more force creating more deformation in the tires, I mean, it's good for braking, but you can't corner like that. Don't be fooled thinking, oh yes, now my front contact patches are the biggest in the world because all the weight is transferred on them. You can't have two ways your tires are deforming. So you see, what you want is to lift your foot off the brake so your tires can go back to the neutral position, neutral motion, not being deformed by braking force. So that you can turn your steering wheel and take the corner and deform the tires with the lateral force. When you turn your steering wheel, your tires will be deforming in the right way for the corner. They'll be walking like they should in a corner, not deforming due to braking. You're just gonna get understeer, you do that. But you see, the fact is you have suspension. And with suspension, when you lift off the brakes, you lose the weight transfer. Your contact patch goes back to mediocre. So then what is the point about hyping over big contact patch in the front due to braking? Let me cook. Yes, obviously, it's true. When you lift off the brake aggressively, the front springs that were compressed with the weight transfer are going to rebound, push all the way back to normal. Mediocre, no ginormous front contact patch. And if you do it aggressive enough, you can actually make your rear springs compress. But I'm going to show you a technique that you can use to eat your cake. And this technique is called trail braking. You've probably heard of it before. If you haven't, then you can't call yourself a car guy. Or maybe you know what it is, but you just didn't know the name. And this technique is quite underrated. The way this works: brake hard. Don't worry about tire deformation. You want that in braking. So brake as hard as you like. Then when you come to the entrance of the corner, you lift off the brake slightly. Very gently. You have to be gentle, so there's not aggressive rebound. There mustn't be too much reaction to your lift off from the suspension.
And as you're lifting off, it varies for every single car. There's car balance, tuning, type of corner, conditions, all of these stuff. But keep things simple. Once you've already lifted off quite a bit, maybe by about the last 40 to 20%, you start turning in. And with less braking tire deformation, now there's more room the tires possess for lateral deformation. They can walk now, your front tires. You can actually corner. And because your liftoff wasn't too aggressive, you still have the load on the front tires. You got all the grip. Why are you telling me about trail braking? There's a million YouTube videos about it. And it's such a baby's technique. Well, first of all, it isn't a baby's technique. Alonso uses it. All F1 drivers use it. Second, the purpose of this video was not to show you what trail braking is, but rather to show you why you should trail brake. You're trail braking your Miata, and it's working perfectly. You're cornering fast. You got the perfect load on those front tires, it's working. Then someone says, hey, you want to take a ride in my Porsche? And then you take the exact same trail braking you were using for your Miata and brake like that on the Porsche, you're gonna spin badly. And you are gonna have a pleasant and long meeting with Barry and your accountant. So this is why the most important thing to know, the most important thing to learn is why you should trail brake. What happens to your tires when you brake? Tire deformation, grip levels, blocking friction, and downforce, which I'm going to get to in a second. All this stuff. If you haven't seen the Balance series, I suggest you watch that. Now, and the next technique I'm going to talk about is called threshold braking. This technique defines driving in itself. Let me show you why. Threshold braking, like I said, is all about the limit. Here's why. Now that you're racing in your Ferrari Challenge, you got much more aero. You got a big van you can provide dinner for a family of 5. You got a splitter that you can do the same thing on. The car's so light you can pick it up with your pinky, but it's also much more technical and there's a fine margin for error. But most of all, the downforce. You see, downforce is a special thing. The more speed you possess, the more downforce you possess, the more grip you possess. So when you're speeding down the Monza straight about to slam brakes for the chicane of death, according to sim racers, you're above 200 miles per hour. Are you? Can those 48 challenges do that? I'm sure they can. Yeah, I know there's drag. For the sake of explaining what threshold braking is, you're rushing down that Monza straight at 200 miles per hour about to enter the chicane of death. You brake hard from 200 miles per hour. At that high speed, you got a lot of downforce, which means you got a lot of grip. So you can slam that brake pedal into the ground. But you see, when you start losing speed, because you're braking, you're gonna start losing downforce too, which means you're gonna start losing grip. And when you lose grip, you need to lift off the brake so you don't lock them up. But you see, this is the special thing about threshold braking that doesn't make it a technique, but a racing lifestyle. Because the principle of threshold braking is what you must live your life by. At the limit. And you know what you need to do to be at the limit constantly and stay there? You need to know your car. So while you're braking down this Monza straight, you need to know the exact grip of your tires at every single kilometer per hour, or mile per hour if you're American. As the speed goes down, as the downforce goes down, as the grip goes down, you need to constantly be at the limit of your tire's grip. So you need to brake at the limit. Because if you brake any less, then what's the efficiency of that? You need to brake earlier if you're going to be like that. Everyone's still going to walk past you. And if you brake too much, you're going to lock your brakes. So you need to stay at that limit, and then you trail brake at the entry. But you see, trail braking is not the only way you can enter a corner fast. It's not the only way you can use your brakes. My favorite technique, definitely the most flamboyant, it's called the brake drift. There's a reason this is my favorite technique, but it varies according to what car you drive. And when I say varies, it can be useless on some cars, like a Ferrari, any mid-rear engine car or rear engine car. Because you see, If you watch the balance series, which I hope you did, you'll know what rotation is. The basis of driving a car to its limits involves rotating all four wheels around the engine. Now, where is that engine? If it's in the front position, brake drifting works. But if it's rear engine, why? It's gonna suck. It's not even gonna be fast. Rather lock up your brakes entering the corner. The way brake drifting works, what you wanna do is a little further forward from your conventional braking point without the brake drift. Brake and get into a slide. But the slide angle must be the same angle for your rear and front wheels to rotate around the engine by their axis. Your rear and front wheels must rotate around the engine. The brakes do what the brakes do. Help you brake for the corner. Help you slow down quickly. But the blocking friction of the tires also create braking force, slowing you down quickly. And because all four wheels are rotating around the engine, you'll be able to take the corner while you brake drifting at the ultimate speed. Full rotation. So that's how you can brake so much later. By mid-corner, sometimes even a little late after mid-corner, get all your grip back and exit out of that corner like a Druid of Wrath. But like I said, the principle of threshold braking must be the principle of your racing lifestyle. What do you have to do to threshold brake? What's the thing that controls whether you are threshold braking or not? Knowing the car. You must have a relationship with the car as if you are one. You must know every single limit of the car. You must know the balance, grip levels, margins for error, every margin, tire deforming, tire degradation. All these things you must know as a driver, and you must listen to whatever the car tells you to do. Good luck, my petrol heads.